I never thought my own daughter would try to destroy me. I raised her alone after her mother passed away. I worked long hours, sometimes 2 jobs, to make sure she had food on the table, clothes to wear, and even a chance at college. I wasn't perfect, but I was always there for her. But one afternoon, everything changed. I had just gotten home from work, my back ached, and I was sitting in the living room flipping through the mail. Suddenly, I heard a loud thud from the kitchen, followed by a scream. I rushed in and saw my daughter lying on the floor, clutching her leg. "Dad, you pushed me! You hurt me!" she cried out, her voice trembling, but her eyes strangely sharp. I froze. "What are you talking about? I didn't even touch you." But before I could say another word, she grabbed her phone and dialed 911. When the paramedics arrived, she pointed at me with shaking hands. "He attacked me! My own father pushed me, and I fell hard. I think my leg is broken." The look the paramedics gave me was cold. They saw me as a possible abuser. My heart sank. I couldn't believe my daughter was setting me up like this. But then came the twist of fate. One of the paramedics, an older man with years of experience, knelt down and gently examined her leg. He pressed lightly around her ankle, checked her pulse, and then looked her dead in the eyes. "There's no swelling, no bruising, no signs of trauma," he said calmly but firmly. "Young lady, you didn't break anything. In fact, you're not injured at all." Her face went pale. "What do you mean? I can't move it. It hurts so bad." The paramedic shook his head. "No, this is an act. I've seen this too many times. You're faking it." Silence filled the room. I could see her panicking, realizing her plan was collapsing in front of witnesses. She stammered, "No, I just need an x-ray. You'll see." But the paramedic turned to me. "Sir, I don't know what's going on here, but this girl isn't hurt. She's trying to frame you." At that moment, anger and heartbreak hit me all at once. My own daughter had tried to ruin me with a lie. My hands trembled as I reached for my phone. And then I did the only thing I could. I called the police.
When I dialed 911, my hands were still shaking. I had never imagined that I'd have to call the police on my own daughter. But after what she had just tried to do, I knew I had no other choice. Within 15 minutes, 2 officers arrived. They stepped inside, one male and one female, both looking serious. My daughter immediately jumped up from the floor, her injured leg working just fine now. "Officers, please, he attacked me," she cried, pointing at me. "He pushed me so hard I almost hit my head. I could have died." The male officer raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? Paramedics, what did you find?" The older paramedic, the one who had already called out her lie, stepped forward. "No signs of injury, no bruising, no swelling, no fracture. She's walking perfectly fine. I'm telling you, this was staged." The female officer turned back to my daughter. "Miss, if you're lying to law enforcement, you understand that's a crime, right?" Her face went red. She stuttered, I'm not lying. He's abusive. He always yells at me, and this time he snapped." My chest tightened. "That's not true," I said, my voice breaking. "I've raised you alone for years. I never laid a hand on you. Why are you doing this to me?" For a moment, I saw something flicker in her eyes. Fear, guilt, maybe even shame. But she quickly turned away, refusing to meet my gaze. The officers pulled me aside into the living room. "Sir," the male officer said quietly, "do you have any idea why your daughter would do this? Has there been conflict at home?" I sighed deeply. She's been angry at me for not giving her money. I can't afford her lifestyle. She wants expensive clothes, parties, things I just can't pay for. I think she thought if she could make me look like a criminal, she'd either get rid of me or maybe even sue me for money. The officers exchanged a grim look. They walked back to her. "Miss," the female officer said firmly, "lying about assault is serious. If you make a false report, you can face charges. Do you want to stick to your story?" Her lips trembled. She looked at me, then at the paramedic, then at the officers. Finally, she broke. "Fine," she shouted. "Yes, I made it up, but you don't understand. He never gives me anything. I deserve more. Everyone else has nicer lives than me, and I'm stuck here with nothing." The words stabbed me deeper than any knife could. The female officer sighed. "That's no excuse to ruin your father's life. Do you realize if we had believed you, he could have been arrested? He could have lost his job, his freedom?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "She just wanted... I just wanted to get out." The officers took her statement and warned her about the consequences. They decided not to arrest her that night, since it was her first offense, but they put everything into the report. As they left, the paramedic turned to me and put a hand on my shoulder. "Sir, you did the right thing. Don't let anyone, even family, destroy your name." When the door closed, I stood there in silence. My daughter sat on the couch, crying softly, refusing to look at me. And in that moment, I realized something heartbreaking. Sometimes, the people you love most can hurt you the worst. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my chair, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything that had just happened. The sound of my daughter screaming fake accusations, the look in the officer's eyes, the coldness in her voice, it all echoed inside my head. How did we get here? How did the little girl I once read bedtime stories to become someone who would try to destroy me with a lie? The next morning, she came into the kitchen. Her eyes were red, her hair messy, and she looked like she hadn't slept either. She sat at the table without saying a word. Finally, I broke the silence. "Do you even realize what you almost did to me?" She looked down. "I said I'm sorry." "Sorry?" I snapped. My voice cracked with pain. "If those paramedics had believed you, I'd be in jail right now. I'd lose my job, my reputation, everything. People would call me a monster. You don't get to just say sorry for something like that." Her lip quivered. "I didn't think it would go that far. I wanted you to feel guilty. I wanted you to give me more." I slammed my hand on the table. "Guilty? After all I've done for you? I worked my whole life to keep this roof over our heads. I sacrificed everything after your mother died. And this is how you repay me? By trying to make me a criminal?" She burst into tears, covering her face. For a moment, I felt my heart soften. But then I remembered the cold panic of almost being arrested, and I hardened again. "I called the police," I reminded her, my voice firm. "There's a report on file now. If you ever try something like this again, it won't just be a warning. You'll face real charges." Her shoulders shook as she cried, "Dad, please, don't send me away." I sighed heavily. "You need help. Not money, not excuses, help." I made a decision then and there. I told her she'd have to attend counseling, no arguments. I even called a local therapist and booked her first appointment. At first, she fought me, saying she didn't need a shrink, but I stood my ground. "You almost ruined my life," I told her. "This is the only chance I'll give you. Either you go to therapy and take this seriously, or you can pack your bags and find somewhere else to live. For the first time in a long time, she looked truly scared. Not scared of me, but scared of losing the only home she had left. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll go. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't healing. But it was a start.
The first few weeks of therapy were rough. My daughter would come home angry, slam her bedroom door, and refuse to talk. I tried not to push her, but every time I saw her roll her eyes or scoff, I wondered if she was truly learning anything at all. One evening, after her third session, she came into the living room while I was watching the news. She hesitated for a long moment before speaking. "Dad, the therapist said I should apologize, but not just say the words, actually mean it." I muted the TV and turned to her. Her eyes were glassy, her voice shaking. She took a deep breath. "I know I almost ruined your life. I know I lied, and I blamed you for something you didn't do. I don't even know why I did it anymore. Maybe I wanted attention, maybe I was angry because you couldn't give me what I wanted, but I realize now how selfish that was." I sat there quietly, letting her speak. "I thought you didn't care about me," she admitted. "But the truth is, I wasn't seeing everything you've done for me. You worked so hard, and instead of being grateful, I tried to tear you down. I hate myself for that." Her words hit me harder than I expected. For weeks, I had been carrying so much anger, but hearing her finally take responsibility cracked something open in me. I leaned forward. "Do you understand how close I came to losing everything? If the paramedic hadn't seen through your act, I'd be sitting in a jail cell right now. That's how serious this was." Tears streamed down her face. "I know, and I'm so sorry. I want to be better. I don't want to be that person anymore." For the first time in months, I saw not the scheming, angry young woman who had tried to frame me, but the scared little girl I used to hold in my arms when she had nightmares. I sighed. "I can't forget what you did. Not yet, but I can forgive, eventually. If you keep going to therapy, if you prove you can change, maybe we can rebuild what we lost." She nodded eagerly. "I will. I promise." That night, for the first time in a long time, we sat down and ate dinner together in silence. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't easy, but it was a small step toward healing. Months passed after that night when my daughter finally admitted the truth. Therapy became a regular part of her routine. At first, I thought it was just another trick, just something she was doing to avoid being kicked out. But slowly, I started to notice small changes. She stopped slamming doors. She stopped demanding money for parties or expensive clothes. Instead, she started helping around the house, something she hadn't done since she was a child. Sometimes I'd come home from work to find the dishes done or laundry folded neatly. One night, as I sat in the living room, she came and placed a cup of coffee in front of me. "Here," she said softly. I looked up, surprised. "What's this?" "Just coffee. I thought you'd be tired after work." It wasn't much, but to me, it felt like a miracle. A turning point. A few weeks later, her therapist asked me to join one of the sessions. Sitting in that small office, across from my daughter, I listened as she shared things I had never heard before. "After Mom died, Dad, I felt abandoned. Not because of you, Dad. You did everything you could, but I felt invisible, like no one cared. And then, when I saw my friends getting new clothes, going on vacations, having what I didn't, I got jealous, and I started to blame you for everything I didn't have." Her words pierced me. I realized then that while I'd been working day and night to keep us afloat, she had been drowning silently in loneliness. I swallowed hard. I never meant for you to feel invisible. I thought working harder would make life easier for you. I didn't see how much you needed me to just be there. For the first time in years, we both cried in front of each other. The apology that mattered. One evening, a few months later, she sat across from me at the dinner table. The silence was heavy, but then she spoke. "Dad, I want you to know, I'll never forgive myself for what I tried to do. But I'm grateful the paramedic saw through me. If he hadn't, I would have destroyed you and myself too. That day changed me." I looked at her long and hard. "You hurt me more than anyone else ever could. But you're still my daughter. And if you're truly trying to change, I'll stand by you. Not because I have to, but because I want to believe you can be better." She reached across the table and held my hand. "I will be better. For both of us." The lesson. It wasn't a perfect ending. Healing takes time. Trust, once broken, doesn't come back overnight. But little by little, we began to rebuild what we had lost. I realized something important. Love doesn't mean ignoring the wrong someone does. Love means holding them accountable, pushing them to change, and giving them a chance when they choose to be better. My daughter nearly ruined my life with her lie, but in the end, that same lie became the wake-up call we both needed. And as I sat on the porch one quiet evening, watching her laugh on the phone with a new group of friends, better friends, healthier friends, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope.